Who are the main guys who are usually up here teaching this morning are actually encouragement. And on the way back, so I just want to just tell you guys, man, we got a great church that one, and that even the leadership of the time, yes, to give money, yes, but then just at times the physical people that just kind of in it, even just that for what they've been doing the past few weeks, and just obviously for them too, even the missionaries have been serving. It's just a big deal. So would you guys in for that real quick before we go? World and the God of the nations, worshipped and loved in the nation, and the grace that comes through you to be known by every cultures that are not theirs, and places of people that don't understand. And just thanks for the chance at our church to have to send some folks out to fuel them, to breathe some life to their weary. That will continue just for a while again to keep them from and that and getting back into things and the groove of things as smooth as possible, protected from illness and all that kind of stuff. We have 3 boys. They're all, imagine raising sins that you down to them, right? You want to introduce them to when they were young, right? Because that's just, you got to do that. So choke each other and they were in the sounds of fight into that world. Then that I realized, man, we've taken this pretty. And my middle kid was about 5'8", and go take it to the sink. From again, you have boys, it's easy to judge. Kind of fantastic stories. I mean, I was in college, man, showed up, and just been the past years of this Marvel that my kids have just grown up thinking is just normal movie. Over time, it was this big saga. Magic and all been amazing. One on that is that us all know is that those of us who are in this corner feeling like rings and things that is right, and so is there lots. It lights up that one with special effects and visual things, like people playing that out and putting it on a screen or in a big saga in front of you. All of in your people, it looks realistic, and man, what if that really was how it played out? Whether it's somebody with a wand or possible, you're looking at it and like, that looks possible. That has been so awakened a lot of imagination to think of, oh, not dumb, like, oh, that's really cool. What's funny is I almost think, yeah, okay, that's what I expected that to look like. As what the world's going on, right? Seeing it on a screen, it seems possible. just because we've seen it, right? For the miraculous, mundane. I mean, saw it, and you guys have probably seen it play out, but of people posting a review, right? And like the only one I can think of is like we're fantastic and huge, and whether it's in stories or on screens, that we just kind of get this mode about us where we're just nothing that's big, like a wow moment, I just take for granted. And it's even confused, I feel like, how I approach stories in the Bible. I come to read and things that God did. This series over the past, we just started that we're doing is basically, and because I grew up going to church and going to Sunday school, and I've been singing songs and hearing the stories and reading the visions and watching TV and dressing, kind of has this so familiar, I kind of find myself being like, okay, like I'm not as impressed. And the gravitas and just the miraculousness of some of these things just wanes a little bit on me. We have these things where an angel shows up, and I don't know about you, the angel who's real according to these passages in the Gospels, like I would collapse in heaven, right? But like to me, it just doesn't seem like, oh, I can just, we just kind of get in that. And so I want to just awaken your head to that and a little bit as we're looking through these several weeks to kind of shake the cobwebs out. Like these are pretty big deals. So we're going to look at, last week we looked at the story of Zechariah, the dad of John the Baptist. Zechariah and his wife were older. She had been barren her whole life, never, hey, you're going to have a son. Going to prepare the way for this. Zechariah being kind of where he is also, he's kind of, yeah, right, whatever. And then, or the angels, the totally normal response, okay, cool. You're not going to be able to speak. He kind of rebukes him, right? Like, wow, okay, that's a big deal. Well, this week we're going to talk, which just is the next one that happened. And Mary and Zechariah on the surface, similar response to when there's something different about the tone behind it that we see where they're at in life. You can tell that like how of where they ask when they have a Luke 2 comes and talks to Mary. In the 6th month, God to this Nazareth, betrothed to a whose name was Joseph of the house of David. And the verse, greetings, O at the saying, and try to learn what sort of greeting. Said to her, do not, and behold, bear a son, and you shall call his name Jesus. He will be over the house of Jacob forever, and of his kingdom there will be. And Mary said to the angel, angel answered her, and the power of the Most High will open. Therefore, and behold, your relative Elizabeth and her, for nothing will be possible with God. And Mary said, behold, I'm the servant of the Lord. that's just that step in that culture where she was. So she's about that age, which in our age, you might talk if you're about to be married, but like you would have a chaperone. There would be people like you weren't holding the hand, snuggling up, super risque, whatever in that culture, right? So element like Mary and Joseph married, but the virgin, she was a virgin. Well, this happened since I'm a virgin. They're not yet happy. And so he's hearing this, right? And the first is this, right? I don't know what she like. What? There's no backstory, some accolades. It doesn't. Mary's life. All of a sudden, the first thing she hears is God, and by the God, the all these Messiah, big fulfillment of prophecy things that's happened. 60 seconds. Oh, don't be. You're gonna have a baby and be the Messiah of the entire. Okay, so just sit there for a second. Put yourself. I mean, we read those words. David forever. Spend a month of a sermon. We're just looking at Mary's response. You're married. You got this. How a disbelief. It's just how will this? I mean, how's this going to happen? I'm a guy. I can't have a child. The first two were born in pretty close to this sort of like scenario was when our child was born. It was to see that we had with him. We lived in Conway at the time, but my family's from here originally. We were up here at a baby shower at my mom's house. The due date. And so we're up here and I'm off my mom's house having the, and then this cell phones, I had this thick Nokia. Awesome. You couldn't really text. And so I had a cell phone with me. I don't remember where I was, but I got a phone call from her and she's like, hey, kind of I think I need to go. So hospital and check her out. And we actually don't think is an issue. Just for precaution, let's we're not just to make sure everything's okay. There, good husband hanging out. She's like, listen, I'm just gonna be sleeping. We'll be done in the morning. Like you don't need to sleep calls or something, but somehow it's like she's calling 12 o'clock today. We're having a baby in like 4 hours. Tiny was in the NICU for like, wow, okay. Is that, but it doesn't, that's crazy. Gabriel, you're dumb. I'll never do this. Gabriel's really not even asking. And God doesn't ask us to understand. He doesn't ask us to understand the mechanics, understand, leave. Mary's response. even look at what the angel said, biological maneuver, overshadow you, and this will be the Son of God. And so she's like, and then later on she's like, let it be God's servant said, I'll do this, or whatever. Eves, where she's like, wow, okay, well, what an honor, but I just don't know it's possible. I want to encourage you guys, God will take that response all day long. He just asks us to understand. And we see throughout Scripture over and over, becomes the father of all the biggest nation in the spring, on the sea, grains of sand, many. But Abraham and his wife had kids, and they're old. And at some point in this journey, I should go take up this mountain, and I want you to sacrifice him to me, which seems ridiculous. Why does Abraham do it? Of Hebrews later, it said Abraham, basically, there was this heart issue of, I'm not going to kill him, but I want you to love me and trust me here. But burns, pops, hasn't happened to me. Not. And he said, what, Moses, by the way, you're going to get him in the planet, to toe with it, these kind of, and you're going to, who he's enslaved, which are my people. It's like, well, I can't talk. Okay, I'll help your brother. I don't know what to do. Well, I'll do this. Eve. You see Daniel coming again in Babylon, and he's trying to be faithful to God, who are all, and they're like, well, we need to, in the quote-unquote fight. They're standing in flames. David goes up against Goliath, which, we've heard that story a million times, but like a 13-year-old going against like Zechariah, this giant warrior. Even the story of Israel going to take the land promised them, there's this strong walls, and they're like this tribal pack going through the desert. They're coming up here, and God's like, okay, I got this battle plan for you, generals. What we're going to do, you're going to put your sword away, take some horn, and march around the city 7 and walls are down. Can you imagine being the general that's going to us to believe? Because it's the glory, he gets the honor, and we get to be like, oh my gosh, what's happened? I said, I don't understand. I don't understand why we word yawn, and some of you will probably. Everybody's like, dang it. Because why don't animals yawn, humans yawn, nobody knows why we yawn. I don't understand. But it's a fact. I've had things that have happened in my life that have been phenomenal, that have been so. Where I don't have any God spoke. Some moments of amazingly clear, and I didn't know where, but I was like, what to do? So decide that, looking for a new position. Simultaneously, in that of months, we had left our friend circle. Some of them just moved away, a new job. We're applying for state benefits, and I'm sitting there like, I don't